Hello, I am Crypto Tyke and welcome to my channel. I just thought I'd have a quick chat about why I don't buy altcoins. Messed up already. Meme coins, and I'm not saying other people shouldn't. I'm just explaining why it's not really my bag, and that's not to say I haven't bought any in the last 5 or 6 months that I've been in crypto, but I've just found that they're not really in line with why I'm in crypto. And the reason I'm in crypto is to try and build a store of value over the coming 10 to 15 years. It doesn't mean that I'm never going to sell anything for that amount of time. It just means that I'm not a trader, really. I'm not in it for the trading. I'm in it to make profits and take profits, obviously. And I'm pretty lucky that I got in a way when I did, because with all this looking like alt season is on the horizon, there are profits to be made. Now, I am wanting to make sure that in 10 to 15 years' time, I do have money that is going to be hopefully worthwhile, and that's why I'm stacking Satoshis with my Bitcoin, and that's kind of a journey to get to 1 Bitcoin. It's going to be a long road, and I'll give you an update on how that's going in another video. But sticking with meme coins, the reason I'm not really into them is because there's just way too much risk and not enough substance. It's mainly relying on narratives. I mean, obviously, I know altcoins rely on narratives as well, but it's an actual project with altcoins that I can look at and physically see whether it aligns with my predictions and my thinking of the future. For instance, with AI, that's something that I've gone into because I've been saying that AI is going to be the next big narrative for a while now, since I was doing, normal trading. When I say trading again, the kind of stuff on eToro, wasn't throwing too much at it at the time, and crypto just seemed to have more opportunity for how I wanted to make money. But AI is going to be the big thing. We can be pretty sure of that because it kind of already is. And if an average person is going to put his money or her money into something that they can point to, without really having to think, it is going to be AI. Your retail, they're going to come in, and the one thing on their mind is, I can make a killing on AI. So my money's there, hopefully early, in the right directions when it comes to alts. But with that, there's also, I don't think it's going to be as big with retail, but I think it will be big in terms of other traders, other buyers, and that is stable coins and real world assets. That sort of narrative is, I think, long term has substance, and that's where my money is heading when it comes to altcoins. But I'm meant to be talking about why I don't buy shitcoins. Well, I mean, you could argue some alts are shitcoins as well, but meme coins mainly. And that is because there's just nothing but hype really behind them. Everybody gets on at once, price goes up, and then the rug gets pulled. Now, often in a lot of these meme coins, it's just a few big players that determine the price. Again, you could argue the same for other coins, but it's more dependent on hype. It lives or dies by that, and whatever is the in thing at the time. It's like with Doge. When I was looking at Doge when I first got involved a few months, 5 or 6 months ago, I was looking at Doge, and for me, it was way too high so there was no point getting involved. It was at the height, obviously, of the Elon Musk and Donald Trump Doge thing. It also had a bit of a revival because of Donald Trump becoming president, and to me, I couldn't see it getting anything else out of it because of, well, once the news is all out there, you're probably too late. And the same applies to Pingu, Pepe. Once everyone's talking about it, you're too late. So for me, it's about looking at projects that are solid, that might be underrated by other people, because my whole life, and another reason I've got involved in crypto now, is because I've spent my whole life making predictions and saying where money should go and what I'd put my money into if I had any money, which I never did because I was very good at spending it. They all materialised. I've got a lot more hits than any major misses. If any, things that I predict tend to be right. I don't know why, it's just something I'm quite good at. But over the years, I'm like, well, why didn't you just put your money where your mouth is? And I work in a strange way. It's like I've got this paranoia, or I had this paranoia, that the minute I put my money in, it'll all go to shit. And it's like, am I really going to be that unlucky that the moment I decide to move on something and have put my money where my mouth is, that there's going to be a massive Black Swan event that is the king of all Black Swan events? Now, I will let you into a little secret. I do have a bit of a prediction about 2027, possibly 2028, which might cause a bit of a Black Swan. And I've been on this one projecting it to happen since, well, quite a few years now. So we're heading to that. But if it does, I still think that because I'm in it for the long term, it's a 10 to 15 year project for me, and that's why I'm buying with long term in mind. I think we'll recover enough anyway. So yeah, I might see a lot of horrible numbers, but as long as I just keep my courage and convictions, things will come okay in the end anyway in my time frame. But back to the original point. Not the meme coins. There's no. I'm trying to put my money into things that will hold value or make more money and become more valuable, an actual store of value. And that's why Bitcoin is very important in that, because I can rely on it to grow in value. It might not make the moves that it once did, but it will be a secure store of value that I think will be as important and one day maybe surpass gold in importance when it comes to a store of value. That is how confident I am about Bitcoin. And therefore, with the smart money coming into it and being in there, and the same applies, I think, to Ethereum as well now, it is going to be worthwhile putting decent money on that in a regular basis. And I want to end up, at least with one Bitcoin is the dream. I'll feel I've achieved something. And all the alts, the other alts, are all part of that plan. So when it comes to alt season, I want to be able to rotate that money, take profits, and rotate some of that back into Bitcoin. And with meme coins, there's no project really behind them, just more of a community or hype driven. And that to me is too much like gambling, because the only people who are going to make life-changing money are either the absolutely extremely lucky or those who already have a lot of money, like your Alex Beckers. It would be foolish to put any sizable amount of your portfolio on meme coins. And I'm not a day trader. I will take profits, but I wouldn't, they'd have a better idea than me anyway with dealing with how to make short-term profits, which I imagine again still requires quite a bit of money. That's why I don't day trade. It's just probably wiser for me just to put money in as I go along, as I get the liquidity. And if I want to gamble, I'll gamble on football because I know football. That's one of my favourite subjects. And, I've done all right with gambling, but it's still gambling. And there is a lot of variables. And again, with the likes of the meme coins out there, whether it's Pepe, Pingu, Doge, whatever, you're still just relying on hype. It could die any time. Any of them could just die. One last pump and dump, boom, rug's pulled, and you're done for. It's never going to move again. Also, time is important. So there's a few factors with meme coins, right? You might dip your toe in. Now, you'll find it's not very profitable, really, if you just dip your toe in, because the profits aren't that exciting unless you've got a fair bit on and the price, you wait it out and the price skyrockets. Now, again, you've got to get lucky with a one-off event, really. A one-off event that just causes it. Usually, you're going to be too late for the big ones, as you'll see there on the screen. But that also means that because we haven't all got, most of us don't have infinite sums of money that we can play with. We have a income that we get each month that allows us to put more money into crypto. If you've got it on a meme coin that's going nowhere for 6 months or a year, you see, there's two things that can happen. One, you dip your toe in and you put a tiny bit on. And then psychologically what happens is you see it goes down a bit and you're like, oh, it's a good time to get some more. So you put a tiny bit more on. And as you're going along, these little bit more add up. That little bit more turns into maybe 2 or 3 Link, 2 or 3 AVAX. Maybe a Solana. You see where I'm going here? That money would have been better spent, and I know I'm talking with hindsight, but I've already done this, so it's not really hindsight because I'm right so far. If you'd have just put a little bit on each of them, even Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever crypto you've got convictions in and confidence in, even if that's not really moving much, long term it is going to do something and it will make you money. Not you're relying on it to pump, but over time it is going to give you decent returns. You could even, with Solana, to name one, and Injective, and a few others. You can. Oh, I've forgotten the word for it. Jesus, I'm having a struggle today. You can even, have it there so it's making more. I've forgotten the word for it. But you get my drift. So it's doing something for you. You're getting a passive return from it anyway, so you're not too worried about it sat there doing nothing over time. But because time is money, and there's a reason to say that. So while your Pingu or Pepe isn't doing much because it's either in the red or the profits aren't enough to really take, so you just leave it there until something big happens. In that meantime, that is money that could have gone on something like AVAX or Solana or whatever, and in 6 months' time, when that's done nothing, you're thinking, actually, I could have used some money in something sensible and then maybe put a bit into a meme coin, but I won't do it anyway. But it's like, There's nothing there that is tangible other than luck, because it is luck. Because if you're hearing about it, this is what I want to get across as well. 99% of us, no matter how long we've been in crypto or trading, we are retail, right? I know it's not nice to say and people don't like to hear it, but we are all retail. It is only those big money traders who are the traders. They're the traders that if you dictate the price by what you're buying and selling, you're probably a trader. The rest of us, in reality, we're all retail. We don't find out that something's going to pump 3 months before it's going to pump, because we probably know the person or people that are likely to buy a shit ton that are going to make it pump. Or we don't know the person that's creating the project before it gets, pre-releases and stuff like that. We are not in the know. We can only react. And that's what you're always doing with meme coins. You're always reacting. With altcoins, Bitcoin, you've always got updates and you can make predictions based on those updates of whether it's likely to succeed, how well it's going, is it going a bit slow, do I need to get out, do I need to trim my position, maybe rotate it into something better. You can make them decisions, but with meme coins you don't have any of that, so it is purely a gamble. All of it, whether it's Bitcoin or altcoins, has to be a bit of speculation, yes, but we're talking levels. And that is why I choose to put my money into Bitcoin and normal altcoins. Usually something solid with a few speculative ones, and some that I hope will take hold in alt season because of the narratives. And I have them set up for different purposes, so that way I've got a bit of flexibility to rotate money. But yeah, I'm not Alex Becker, so I can't afford to throw shit tons into Pingu or Pepe or whatever. That's not my bag, literally. And most of us aren't. So I'd like to know in the comments if anybody is big into the memes. How much of your portfolio have you dedicated to memes? Are you a massive gambler? Is it like portfolio full of memes? Let me know in the comments. I might be missing something. I don't know. But for my strategy, for my purposes, it's a 10 to 15 year project for me. I need it in things that have got potential, lower cap that are potential for growth, and also the stable, not, don't mean stable coins, but I mean the safer bets like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which I think are going to have in the future very, very, they're going to be as serious as having, a big stash of gold, and you're going to be able to do a lot with them. And I think, we're heading there. But, yep, let me know in the comments, and do take a moment to just hit the like button as well, because I need all the help I can get at the moment. I'm only a tiny channel, so hit the like button and take a moment to subscribe. I've got my Bitcoin journey that I'll be sharing with you, and also looking at other coins like Casper, Avax, and my Solana as well. I've been really pleased with that, but I'll tell you all about that later. For now, I'm going to sign off and say thanks for watching, and take care. Catch you later, guys.